Hello and welcome back to Factorio, the July 2020 community map. So my intention for this time is to basically focus on even more circuits. The more circuits I can get, then I can get more beacons and I can look at upgrading the refineries will probably be next to go to electric refineries with beacons and productivity. And I could even possibly look at upgrading miners. So looking at this, I noticed that actually like one side of the green circuit is backing up. So I think I can get away with having an extra sand machine here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like replicate what I've already got to add one more sand machine on the end. I'm not quite sure if at the moment I'm going to give it, that was the power pile I needed. Yeah, I'm not sure if at the moment I'm going to give it the full sail speed beacons. I'll see how it goes. So I come on to nuclear, so I haven't quite got enough turbines and reactors. I needed to build up a lot more resources for those, but they're underway. So my plan is going to be to build a 2x4 reactor, and I'm just going to work out as I go along. I've done the basic maths. So for a 2x4 reactor, I should get 1,120 megawatts of power. I'm going to build that down here. So this belt will eventually extend all the way down there, take the fuel and stuff. That'll be 1,120 megawatts of power. I have 14 water pumps each going to 8 heat exchangers, each going to 14 turbines. That gives a total of 196 turbines. And I believe 193 is the ideal number if I got everything perfect. So probably won't be the ideal layout, but having a simple 14 to 8 to 14 I think is going to be an easier way of doing the layout. So the first point is going to be up here I do need some form of iron plates. I guess the easiest way is to try and come through here and then down here. Can't really see another way of doing that right now. That would be safe. That'd be coming along here. Just don't know what that's about. Some sort of weird lag. Then coming along there. And actually that's too far over. Let's do it there. This will be iron plates to make the fuel cells. So the fuel cells will come down here and the depleted fuel cells will come back up here. In fact, probably the smart move would have been to move this all down here. Might still be the smarter move. So I'm not going to need these speed beacons anymore. I don't need that much production. I've now got plenty of this stored up as well. What I do need to do is come up with a smarter way of doing this. It wasn't the smartest. Let me see what I can do here. So let's get rid of this for now. That's kind of fine there doing direct insertion, but I do need to be able to get these ones like actually out. Because also I need a centrifuge. Yeah, I don't need as many centrifuges either now. It's kind of initial thing. So if I look at the one for doing the nuclear fuel, do I use a regular assembler? I always forget this. Yeah, I think it's a regular assembly machine for whichever reason. So that's that. Can you put productivity in it? Yes, you can. That's good. So yes, this will need to be able to use up these eventually. So that could do that. And that would be the 235. And basically what I need to do is just make sure this gets priority, so this gets first pick on the available resource. And it's probably going to be kind of messy. I think better about doing this at some point in the future. Thing is, I do still want to use this here just to like sort it. But that could go there. It saves me moving all those boxes. And that goes in there. That can. Oh, I've got enough transport belts. Yeah, then that could go in there. maybe I'll see how it goes. Maybe I need to do something better with that. Now my other plan here was using the circuit wire I put in there. Is I'm going to try and avoid having like 5 trillion fuel cells just waiting in the queue. I was going to do that by putting so like this is going to fill up a little buffer here. Then I'm going to put a condition on one of the transport belts. That condition is going to limit how many can proceed further down. So I think starting off somewhere here, so hopefully this leaves enough space to figure out. We want a little bit less space now. I don't want to have too much space just for the sake of putting pipes. The robots were trying to catch up with the car, they're still not quite fast enough. So I'm going to have a way to get, so this is going to be 4, and I'm going to need a way to get fuel cells in and out of these. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have like a loop. I'm just going to go all the way around the reactors, like so. And then at some location, either there or there, it doesn't matter, I'll figure that out later. What I'll do is I'll insert new fuel cells into the loop and take out the depleted ones using a filtered inserter. And what I'm going to need to figure out as well is how to get the heat pipes out of here, so this bit here could get a little bit complicated. Now since I was going to build 14 sets, that's quite easy, I can build 7 and 7. So if I find my heat exchanger, then the question is, can I get away with doing... That's just going to annoy me anyway, because like that's going to be an annoying, not symmetrical thing. Can't things be... These be an odd number or something? Maybe I should have built 2x5 just so I could have the point of symmetry. Well, I don't know. I guess it's just not going to happen. It's going to be offset by 1. Basically how that's going to be. That's going to be 4, 5, 6. That's going to look like that if I just build simple strips. And each one of these will be 8 long. So then that's 4. And then that's 8. And what I'm hoping is over this like short distance, putting a single pipe will work. I'm going to try it out, see how that ends up being in practice. Because it's the length of the pipe as well as the amount of liquid. Well, the length of the pipe determines how much liquid can flow through it. Steam being a liquid for pretty much all intents and purposes in this game. And I could look it out and I could count the number of tiles, but it's gonna hope I built it compact enough for it to be okay. Compared to the water, I know the water is going to be pumped like a little bit of distance. That's why I was more conservative on how much I put through each pipe of water. Because what I'm going to plan to do here is similar to the steam engine setup. So once I've got a small gap so I can get through if I need to, I will split these pipes back out again. So that each turbine looks like that's the position. Okay. Oh, I might have made a mistake already. Yeah, these can't be that close because I'll never be able to get the turbines to fit. So potentially that answers the question. I will need to have a second space. The question is, do I make the second space for heat pipes or do I make it for... It's going to have to look like this. So either heat pipes or steam pipes will get an extra one. Or I suppose I could just do this and then these don't have to line up exactly because they're still close enough. I can route to them. Yeah, this is going to come down to like the capacity of the pipe, I think, whether this works or not. So I'm going to do a try and see on it. Next big question being how do I want to do the heat pipes. So some of these are quite straightforward. They can just come straight down. They happen to line up here. These ones here somewhat less so. So what I need to work out is where I can put them so that I'm still leaving enough space for pipes. I might have to move this whole thing up north to make space for pipes. That's something I just might have to deal with. And I hope that's not too long. There's quite a long row on the end one. Again, I guess I'll see how it works once it's powered up. I also need to make sure I leave space for inserters. I believe I have got space for inserters here. And in fact, space there for inserters. So this one can take the shorter route. Right reach, I'll do it that way instead then. Actually, look, there's plenty of space for inserters there. I don't know what I was worried about. Pipes could be another question entirely. So yes, I think this all needs to go north because I'm not going to have space to get these pipes out here. Because let's say they do that, then they can come down. But yeah, these aren't going to fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I'm going to cut basically all of that. And I think I lost some turbines because of the way the cut tool works. I can't see up there, that's kind of irritating. I'll put those turbines back later. This looks like the best I'm going to get, so let's put that there. And then this gives me 7 pipes on the end here. And if you recall from my maths earlier, so these pipes should be somewhat underutilized. So I don't think I'm going to have a problem with getting the water in there, even if the pipes are slightly longer routes. So just rebuilding turbines. I should have somewhere here in my clipboard. There we go, the rest of the turbines. And on to the next challenge of finding enough places to put these. So it shouldn't be too hard, there's lots of coastline here to figure out. Yeah, 'cause that one lines up with that. It's basically just working out what lines up with what. Then finding the easiest routes to plumb them. Which I think will give me this. This looks like the simplest way of doing it. So that means I've got water, I just need to finish off that transport belt. Come down to about there, come across, and then down I guess. And yeah, that'll expand this way. I guess it could come down and then along, that might be the better way. And that'll give me power as well, so that's the finishing touch. So what I've done here is I've got a little counter. So this has a T value of 1. This is input count on T. So this will keep incrementing 1 per tick, 60 per second. And it's conditional on this having no fuel cells. So what this will do is it's going to pulse this every 3 seconds to let some fuel cells through. And it's just going to limit how many are on this belt. It's probably not really required. I could have just let it fill up, but I thought it was an interesting way of doing things. Now as those heat up, I'm going to figure out how to do the other 7. So that's going to be these ones. So basically for the pipes, I guess I'm going to do the mirror image. And then the pumps will be down here. So that would see these be here. And I am still short 2 reactors. So I've got them in the base up there, but it's a little bit of a hike over there, so I'll do that later. So this is it, everything's now working nicely. So I've got the power going around in a circle here, and you can see the depleted ones are getting sent off. I've not done any reprocessing work yet, because we don't get that many, and the amount of uranium now I've got, I can actually just never bother reprocessing, it wouldn't really be an issue. So it has heated up, so I'm fairly sure the heat pipes are all short enough. But I haven't been able to load test it really, because if you check the power on these power poles, so I've gone from producing about 300 megawatts not being quite enough, having brownouts, to potentially going to going 1.6 gigawatts total. That's going to be 1,120 megawatts on this, plus whatever the steam engines were capable of. But they all do seem to be here, and you can see the steam turbines are all working, so everything's connected. I just don't know whether it's going to work under load, and I won't really know that until I build some more stuff. And it looks like there's enough fuel cells here to last a really long time, even if I didn't have a mine, and obviously I'm still going to keep making them. I'll just have to check the production versus consumption at some point. I don't know whether this is big enough or not. And you can see this is all backed up as well. So using this newfound power, I think I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade these circuits. These are the last circuits that aren't using beacons. And I'll probably do this next as well, just for the game being completionist. I probably won't need as many as... Well, this is very bursty, so the other thing I could have maybe done like before was just have a buffer chest, store a few thousand. Because basically when I do a large construction project, all these inserters and belts and stuff, they use up a lot of gears. But I'm not really using them under sustained usage because my main sustaining usage right now is actually beacons and modules to go in them. So this is going to be one big demo job. And probably I'm not going to have as many of these either for the time being, so I'm not going to worry too much about this being kind of in the middle of everything. Now what I will do is upgrade my power system though. I'm going to use big power poles. And then it should be easier not to accidentally delete things all the time. Looks like that should work. And I don't need these power poles here either. And it's going to be the same design I used before. And it looks like this does actually just fit in here. I'm going to put that there, but what I'm going to do is going to reverse the direction of some of these transport belts. So all these undergrounds and regular belts. And I'm going to take in the copper and yarn from the right side instead of the left side. So that's that working, nothing really special there. And it looks like there's one piece of belt that's technically the wrong way around. Let's just correct that. And then same for this. This is going to be new, so I've not got anything I can copy and paste for this. Let's just do the big demo job first. And it looks like all these demo jobs have run me out of storage space. What I need to actually start doing in that case is what I'm going to find in this storage over here is a lot of rubbish that should be like actually used. Like iron plates and stuff, they could be used productively. Circuits, they could be used productively. Well, actually, a lot of it's just like random stuff that where I've deleted stuff. I think they should get used up. It should be used, I think, in preference to these providers. So I think I'm going to try just having 6 of these to start with. I might even put beacons on the one side just to see how that works out. After I've done this, I guess iron is going to be on the bottom. And then gears can be on the top here. I should have some iron, but I do need to tidy this up a little bit. This is actually quite a mess. Okay, I'm just going to take, I guess, this for the time being. Kind of route it around like that, and I'll figure out a better way of balancing the iron later on. Okay, so that's that working. So it looks like actually maybe I could have done 4 with beacons on both sides instead of 6. So you can see that it's using up the entire belt of input iron. And it's actually not quite producing enough gears right now. That's because it was backed up before, but now obviously I've got a new burst of production. And also because this one blue belt is actually less than 2 red belts, whereas I had 2 red belts before, I think. Of course, the other really smart move is to actually put the productivity modules in the thing you're trying to put productivity on. So now I put those in, they're going to run a little bit slower and they're going to use up less iron. So this is now backed up though, so I'm not going to get to see the full speed. I think it's still too many for 1 belt of iron. Probably I could have still stuck with just 4 of them on one side. But considering I'm just feeding 2 basic belts, which is, well, this would feed 3, then I'm not too worried. I think it's going to be fine. Especially once like this backs up again, because it's just running at full speed now because it's not flowed through. It looks like I've finally got the power and production on these at full speed. So what I think I'll do is I'll just expand this to have a second set. And what I want to see what I can do is if I can put this to be here, so it shares some of the belts. So then what I'm going to use is long-handed inserters for all of these. Now actually, inserters sharing the belt's not going to help me too much thinking about it, because it's the opposite side of the belt, so it's not going to like reduce the amount of stuff that can be stored on the belt. Well, I don't think it matters which way, as such, which way around I do it, so I'm just going to stick with this way. So I'm not sure if this express belt is going to be enough, because I'm splitting it here. I might have to run 2 belts in. But basically what I've done is I've mirrored the whole thing. And so I should now have a second box of speed modules, and all the productivity modules are going to go into the same box. Now I think it's running a lot better. Now I'm using up a lot more circuits, so what I was seeing is the plastic here wasn't quite a full belt, so what I've done is I just upgraded the inserters. It's the same chemical plant and beacon layout, and I did also get rid of the old one completely now. Okay, so optimised around the circuits a bit more, so this is the new one. You can see here's the old one. So what I basically did was moved this here 1 tile further left, so I can now have 2 inserters on here. So the ones that are inserting onto the mostly empty belt will have 1 inserter each, and the ones inserting onto the fuller belt will have 2 inserters each. Actually, that should have had 2 inserters too. And then the hope is that this will allow the belt to be pretty much full all the time with less gaps. So a couple of new developments just to finish off. So I built this refining setup here. So I didn't show me actually doing this. This is a very simple one, but kind of a bit of trial and error on the number and the balancing. So what you've got is you've got the express belt of ore coming in, and because of productivity, you get 1 express belt out is, you can see this keeps pausing because less than 1 express belt in. So there's a simple set of 2 rows, and the bottom one is very simple inserters. So what I've done here is I've loaded onto 2 sides of a belt here with the first 8, I believe. And as I said before, like getting inserters to onto express belt that's fully compact seems to be very, very difficult. So what I've done instead is I've taken a second belt, again put onto both sides, and then I put a splitter, and the splitter does the final merge, because that can take 2 not quite compact belts and output 1 actually compact belt. And this is just using the ore that I had from before. So it turned out this last one here I hadn't used wasn't quite an express belt's worth, even with the merge here. But also these here are too long for a fast belt anyway, so I'm just tapping like all the little bits of extra. So the fast belts get priority still, and extra bits add on to here, and this ends up being 1 belt with enough for the best output. And this is feeding the copper required to do a second set of red circuits, which is fed by another set of green circuits using the modified one I showed before. I doubled up all the belts all the way along, and I also noticed that this here, 1 express belt was not enough. Well, half an express belt on the red circuits, because the red circuits are used by both the tier 1s and the tier 2s. So I've done this instead, so I now have a complete belt coming into both, and then I split off to the 2 sets. And in fact, now just looking at this now in review, I can actually see it's not quite enough. These last 2 assembly machines aren't getting enough. I think that's because of where the... Yes, the express belt you can see is stacked up here, and then this isn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade this much of it to express belt, and that should provide the extra capacity required. Now just wait a second for these circuits to filter through. They should be done. Other achievements today was obviously also getting nuclear power done. And you can see that's now I can get nuclear power done. But that's the 8 reactors here. And these are working quite nice, but still even with these expansions only using about a third and half the power. I guess I can see it better on the overlay here. About a third of the power I guess. So lots of expansion possible there. I'm going to leave this running because this is a lot of coal. I don't really have anything else to do with the coal. I'm not, especially as I transition away from steel furnaces, I'm not going to make that much plastic. So I'll leave this running. It's power until, at least until I have a UPS issue if I get that far. And this I think should be nicely tileable. It's not tileable in the sense I could do an N by 2, but I could just build another one here, another one here. I think that leaves space for at least 3, and I could build more to the right of that belt along here. So that should be plenty of nuclear power for the foreseeable future. As I said, UPS would be the issue now before I have issues with power supply. So I hope you found that interesting and be sure to look out for more.